Right, so I am trying to use my number 6 stretching stick for compressing the flow. Okay, this part here is for stretching the mug, but this part here is for compressing. So basically, it's easier because a lot of people has problem compressing the flow using the fingertip. So this tool is designed for taking care of that. Okay, so you can see the flow is very flat, and also you're gonna end up with a very nice 90 degrees without getting excess clay build up on the corner, inside corner. And now I'm ready to lift it from the inside corner, so that basically the finger is pinching the inside finger and outside thumb, and my right hand is kind of stable as my thumb for the initial lifting. Pinch and raise the wall. And compress the rim. Okay. And then lubricate it. And I'm gonna get the corner a little bit, the base a little bit smaller, so I'm just squeeze it in the corner using my right fingertips. And then collar in, make the cylinder a little bit narrower. And compress the rim. So now I'm just using very few water to coat it on the inside of the wall. And then I'm gonna keep on raising from the bottom corner, raising the wall. So this is the finger is locking together, and using my right thumb and the fingers inside to pinch and lifting the wall. And this finger here, this fingers here, the right fingertips here is slightly hold it on the side, so extending my thumb. So from this camera you will be able to see how my thumb is working from this angle up. Okay. And compress the rim. And if you want the top to be smaller, make sure that you leave enough clay for you to make a small opening. So usually you want to, after you raise it up, just you pinch and compress so the rim is a little bit thicker. Okay, so that's the resin, and now I'm going to stretch it. But before I stretch it, I usually like to use a rig to remove all my throwing mark here. And now I have a whole bunch of different tools that I could use. If you're afraid of having too much of the angle here that you might drag lines, I have outer ribs that this part here is like a corner, so that you wanna drag the knife. If you wanna get it a straight cylinder better, I actually have 2 different ribs to go with the outside. So this one and this one. So depending on how tall your cylinder. So I think this one is a little bit closer to the size. So I'm gonna use this to just guide it on the outside. And while I'm stretching it, my finger can hold it on this finger holes here. And just make sure that when you make the cylinder straight, you don't need to have too much of a pressure from the outside. Basically, you hold the rib a little bit on the outer part here and let the inside hand push in the wall onto your rib. So you could stretch your cylinder so it is straight, and then also removing all the throwing mark. And now if I want to make a shape, I can go ahead and make a shape now. So for making the shape, usually it's the inside hand is doing the job. Let me show you how to shape it without touching the outside. So just the fingers inside doing the job to push out your shape. And make sure when you are shaping the inside hand to be able to lubricate it. You want to lubricate the inside wall so it is slippery when you are shaping. This is very important. Okay, here I'm just using my left hand. I'm pushing out the wall and keep the rim compressed. Okay, I'm gonna do one more time. Okay, so that's the inside hand. You can see where it has no clay is where it contacts on the inside of the wall. So you see that all the fingers is touching. So it's a lot of friction. So make sure that you add slip or water on the inside of the wall. Actually, you can see from the top view, I have actually a little bit of slip. Usually I toss the slip inside and just grab the slip while I'm stretching it, shaping it. So that using that slip to coat it on the inside of the wall. If harder for you to scoop it up, you can use a sponge and then just get all the slip and then put it on the inside of the wall. Right? And usually I wouldn't just, unless I have a texture outside, otherwise I like to have my metal rib to work because I could bend my metal rib. Okay, bend, and then my inside hand is pushing so that the shape is fitting to the curve. I bend my rib. there's a little air bubble. You can pop it off. So I will do my final shaping and then I finish up the rim part for the gallery for the lid. You see that I am bending my rib, my metal rib, and then the inside hand is pushing the wall onto the rib. Okay. Now I'm ready to take care of the rim. The proportion, this lid the rim is a little bit big to wide, so I'm going to close it a bit. Since I don't have the rim very slippery, so I'm getting the sponge and just put a little bit of water to lubricate it. So basically, if I'm closing the rim, actually is this hand, one finger inside to support it, and the thumb is dragging it, okay, pushing it like this. This right index finger is to support it, so my hand is more stable. Okay, and then I'll rip again to squeeze a little rim. Okay. The rim is a little bit wobbly, so now the last step is to cut it. So this is my number 10 cutting knife, and just hold my knife steady and slowly while the wheel is spinning, keep on going until my inside finger feel the tip of my cutting tool. And then I am no rush to pick it up yet. I have to let the wheel circle the whole, rotate the whole circle, so that I know it's cut, that the rim is being cut, and then I can pick it up. A lot of people try to go there and finish and then try to pick it up very quick. You don't have to do that, okay? You don't need to do that. Just take your time, and you see that as long as you're holding the tool the same position, right, and no rush, you can pick it up. Okay. So that's how I cut it. Okay, you see that I'm bracing my wrist right here on this splash pan, which is very stable. After that, I could use a sponge to just remove the excess clay from the cutting. And use the chamois to round the rim. I am bring back my metal rib to smooth. There's a little mark here to smooth it, so it's going all the way to the border of the rim and the body. Okay, so that's the cover jar, and then I'm going to use my number 5. Okay, my number 5 cutting knife. Okay, this is very sharp. The edge is very sharp. So I'm just following the angle from the slope and holding my tool like holding the pencil and stabilize. So I'm bracing my wrist on the splash pen. So I'm taking my time until my knife hit the bed and pull out. Okay, pull out. And then use my number 10 stainless tool to undercut it. So you see that after cutting, the foot is a lot smaller and the whole piece looks much lighter. Okay, use my caliper to measure the width. Okay. Right, so to make a lid, usually you could have a clay a little bit bigger than the actual needed clay size, so that you could cut it off. You can decide how much clay you want to leave for your nub. This is going to be the upside down lid, so I will trim the nub later. This is my preferred kind of lid for that kind of body I just did. So first you will squeeze it and make it into a like a doorknob, okay? Not donut, okay? Doorknob, okay? Like a door, okay? Doorknob. And then you make it flat, and you dig a hole in the center. You don't need to dig it very deep. Remember, you're not making a bowl, you are making a lid. So using my right thumb to squeeze it, push out. Okay. And make sure that your lid, you don't have a little curve instead of flat. If you make it flat, because usually the lid, we like the lid a little bit of a dome shape. So if you make it too flat, the middle part of the lid, which underneath of the the knob, it's gonna be too thick. So you wanna follow the curve. The outside curve, so inside you need to have a curve too. Right, and then I bring back my caliper to check how much clay I could, how wide it should be. So you see that this is going to be the outer part of the gallery. So I am pinch. Okay, this finger is pinch, and my right index finger is kind of squeezing down. So you see that you have a rough idea where is the outer part of a gallery. Okay, this part here should be the measurement we just did, right? It's still a little bit wider, so we could finish it up later. But first we want to take care of the inner part. So we have a little curve. And I find out using this curve of my left thumb is very good because it's just fitting in the curve nicely. Right, and then for this part here, the gallery. So you have the basic tool kit that come with it. It's this guy, okay, this guy. So if you buy the basic pottery kit, they all come with it. But some of them, I find out it's not very good of this, because the wood is soft. Okay, so after years of use, this corner is not getting very nice, perfect 90 degrees. Okay, which is not good for compressing the gallery. You don't have a nice, perfect 90 degrees. Okay, so this is my number one from my tool set, the rib set, number one. So you are using this 90 degrees and you squeeze it in with a finger supported. And push down, okay, in and down. Okay, let's double check the size. Okay, so very close, could be a little bit smaller. And usually I like to taper it. Okay, so the very bottom of the gallery, it's exactly the size, but the top is a tiny little bit smaller, so it's easier for it to drop into the body. Right, so I'm tapering it a bit. Okay, this is a lot of clay hanging out, so I will cut it. Okay, cut it. But before I cut it, I like to make it a bit thinner, so I am pull this part here a little bit out, pull it out, and compress it so it's a bit thinner. right? And do it again to make sure the corner is nice and smooth using this nice corner. Okay, and bring back my number 10. Okay, number 10. Just chop it. Okay, make sure you hold the tool steady, and then just cut it down. Okay, so that's the size. It's more closer to the body, just a little bit more than a quarter of an inch hanging out. And round the corner, and you see that I'm squeezing it a little bit, so there you can see a little bit extra clay coming here. That's okay, we could take care of it. You could, either way, you could trim it later, or you could trim it now. And usually I like to trim it now so I could reuse that clay. I don't want to wait till it's dry and then try recycle it. And final check with the size. Okay, so that's pretty good. Okay, bring back my number 5 tool. So I'm going to chop it off. See that? I am chopping off the little excess clay from the base. So you will see that the rim is, the gallery is a bit nicer. Right? So, and then you need to decide how much clay you want to leave for your nut. So I am squeezing down the clay here. Alright, so that's about it. About a little bit more than 1 inch from the very deep spot to here, to where you're going to cut it, more than 1 inch, and then I can just wire it off. Okay, so just use a cutting string to cut it off. It's the same method as you throwing up the hump. So that's the lid. Okay, like that. So I'm going to just leave it on my bed. Okay, so that's throwing of the lid part, and I show you the rib to compress the wall, to the number 6 to compress the floor, and this is my number three half round rib for the outer part of a cylinder, and then stretch it out. And using my number 5 knife to cut the corner of the clay. And that's for the body. And for the lid, I was using my number 1 perfect 90 degrees angle to compress the gallery, and use the knife again, the number 5 knife again, to just cut the excess clay off. Okay, so hope this demonstration helped, and I'm just taking my time, so this video is a little bit long, but it's very good for making little part demonstration. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.